So I don't know if I really got to the core of the heart of what I was trying to say. Cheese keeps crashing on me here. I'm trying to rebuild it. But again, what I'm trying to get at here is with the configure, make, and then make install process of running GCC or G++ to compile a source code. It does a good job with the configure process of identifying if dependencies are fulfilled. Yes, that module there, or no, it is not. And it says if it is not, we need that, and it has to be greater than this version. You must fulfill that requirement, or we are not going to continue. And that's what configure does. So it's doing this to me again. I don't really understand why I didn't get this particular package, because I did just install it, I thought. So that's how I feel too, Jeffrey. So anyways, so it's kind of like this though. Now I jumped back. Here's how we're gonna feel. I found another issue with the whole process of this. So I ran it. I had to download PCRE, which is something with Ruby or something like that. Is that right? Ruby? I could be wrong. Sorry. So anyways, it spits out all this junk. It does. It is good for debugging. We want that. But we need to save that information though. And it really doesn't save. It kind of just spits it out of my terminal. And then it goes into the next thing. I really just don't know how to really feel, except for all these build notifications. We're not going to have many of them. We run it one time. We only need one thing. You know, if it doesn't finish, then you need to run it again and again and again. Maybe you have 100 of them before you ever get it to work. That's okay. We don't care. That's all part of the build process. But I do wish to keep all of those records. Right? Maybe you can flush them. You can flush it at some point and say you want to clear out all this information. But I would like to keep that stuff and see, you know, at such and such stage of the revision history, you know, the configure command started kicking out these errors, or you know, maybe this module that wasn't available at some point, and then it wasn't working for us. So, I guess it's like this too. So I ran configure and it kicked out all this stuff. This is the second time I ran it, but it ran everything again. That's kind of a waste of resources, is how I can really feel. It is not that good to resources. And then, why did I need to run it twice? I did not need to. But it didn't know that. It doesn't really know. It has no clue. It doesn't even really care, is how I don't feel. But it just doesn't even know. It's just like a shell script. You just run it. And it runs over and over again. It'll tell you the same thing every time. But what we don't want to do is that at all. We run it one time. And if it doesn't need to run again, then don't run it. You really should know that. Sure, you should be able to allow to re-execute that. Like say you want to override that and you want to run it again, you should be able to do that. But we don't want source OS to waste resources or time or power ever. What we want is to have all of it there for them, and then if it needs to do something, then it does it. But if it's already been done, it should keep track of that progress, and then kind of like move it. Just like it gets there and then it stops, and then move it up another notch, and it holds on. We don't need to rerun configure every time. That's how I just kind of feel. Maybe we do. Maybe there's a reason to do that. But I feel that some of these things can be removed. So I'm going to run configure again because I'm going to see what happens, but I don't know that I did anything differently, so and this is in on the on glib. On glib, every time I have to run this. So it actually I went through and I ran configure on glib, and then it found it didn't have something, so I had to go find it, and I did that like 2 or 3 times at least. But it runs the whole thing again and again. It should know where it stopped, and then just start again from there. I say, okay, we got it now. Now we're going on to the next package, the next package, the next package, and all this. And then I just don't know how to really feel, except for it's just kind of like we have a whole bunch of files in the file system, and then when we install a program, we just put a file in like this folder, right? And now that file is locatable. I almost want to have like a database that records some of these changes, like, you know, it says we added a file over here. We don't want to say we are going to run a program. It's not there. We couldn't find it. Problem, right? What we want to do is say we want to run a program. Check database if program is installed. Great, it's installed. Where is it installed? Great, run the file name of where it's installed. Now we ran it. And if it's not installed, then it's because it's not in the database, then we're not going to run anything because it's not in the database. It wasn't registered as like a service or an application that was installed. Kind of like Windows Registry, maybe. Maybe this is not the wisest way to do things, but I just kind of feel like you have like, I don't know, maybe Windows is good in some ways, but I kind of just, you know, I don't know. Maybe if we had some way to, well, I guess what it comes down to is during the make and the compilation process with programs, kind of keeping track of where we're at in some of these files, and that you would have to like do a hard reset, not a hard reset, but you would have to pretty much code in there, reset everything to redo that. Which is would be like make clean, yeah, make clean. And that's kind of how we're gonna feel too. But make and kind of make install will kind of do that too. So it looks like I wanted lab PCRE. So I thought I looked at PCRE and maybe it wasn't live PCRE, but I thought it was. So we're gonna look this up again. So on GitHub, but GitHub hasn't been giving me configure files, and then I have to go download it from their website, and I don't really know what's with that. Maybe they just didn't put the configure files in there like they should have. Maybe they want to allow people to figure out something. That's right. Maybe it's just a mistake that a bunch of these guys have made. So I'm trying to see if I can get live PCRE on here. From GitHub this time, since this other one, wherever I got it from, didn't work. See, this is just kind of like, I feel like I'm stabbing in the dark. I don't really know how many people named their library the same thing, or how many different places you guys upload everything to. But they're not mirrors. They're really not, in fact, compatible. They don't really know how to make the bridge exactly, a bridge. And this is just really powerful for me here in Boulder County. We got Bridge House. I don't really know. Like I just really don't know how powerful bridge, the idea of bridging things, has kind of been for me. See, there we go. Can't configure. I don't really even know how fucky this shit is for me. Lab tool eyes.